As more Americans become infected with the coronavirus called COVID-19, health officials say those most likely to require hospitalization or die from it are elderly or people with underlying health issues.
There's 7 coronaviruses that have infected humans so far. 4 of them cause the common cold. So 10 to 30% of all common cold is due to a coronavirus. So it looks like this one can not only do something like the common cold, but if you're older or have what we call comorbidities, congestive heart failure, chronic lung disease, it can be fatal.
Recognizing the vulnerability of senior citizens, the White House Coronavirus Task Force, led by Vice President Mike Pence, is paying new attention to nursing homes.
Our administration announced increased standards for all nursing homes in the United States of America to prevent the spread of infectious diseases. And later today, we'll be implementing a new policy to focus all of our inspection efforts in all 50 states on nursing homes complying with infectious disease protocols that have been put into place by the federal government.
Furthermore, they recommend anyone in the general public who is sick to avoid visiting a nursing home. Meanwhile, in a rare show of unity, competing pharmaceutical companies cooperating in an effort to provide a coronavirus test to anyone who wants one.
And we've decided to come together as one to help really focus on this important health crisis. So we will be sharing information, we'll be working together on capacity, and we'll be doing everything we can across our industry to meet the needs of the American people.
Infectious disease specialists say the best way to prevent getting the coronavirus is by keeping your hands clean and avoid touching your face.
When we cough and when we sneeze, that's what this virus likes to ride, from place to place and person to person. It may also get onto our hands, and usually these viruses, once they get on our hands can then touch other people or other places, and they can spread there.
Experts estimate 80% of those infected will experience mild symptoms or no symptoms at all.
Well, Lorie Johnson joins us now for the latest on the coronavirus. And Lorie, how serious is this? What's the, I guess, the rate of infection and then the rate of death from the infection? How many people can we expect to see?
This is actually the number one question. This is the bottom line. How serious is this? How worried do we need to be? How deadly is this? And what's really fascinating is this is changing all the time. And the good news is health experts within the United States at the CDC and the NIH believe that it's actually going to be less deadly than we previously thought. When we look at the death rate, what is it? It is a math problem. You take how many people have this disease, and out of all the people who have it, what percentage of them die from it? And so what we're seeing, for example, in South Korea is the more people who get tested, the death rate goes down. In South Korea, 140,000 people have been tested. That's a lot. In the United States, it's not even 2,000. And in South Korea, where 140,000 people have been tested, 6,000 people have tested positive. That's a lot of cases, but the death rate is less than 1%. That's about the same as the flu, less than 1%. Here in the United States, we've had less than 2,000 tested, and that's because doctors are only recommending people get tested right now if there's very good reason to believe they might have it. So as more people become tested in the United States, we're going to probably see more cases, but we might see that death rate go down because we might see more mild cases.
What about a vaccine, Lorie? Where are we at with that?
Interesting, they're fast-tracking this vaccine. Doctors are amazed at how fast they're getting a vaccine out. But the vaccine process takes a long time, and you just can't hurry it for medical reasons. We don't want to rush something. Exactly. We don't want to start sticking things in people's arms that hasn't been proven to be safe. So we have about 20 companies worldwide that are working on a vaccine and say they have come up with a vaccine. Now they have to test it to make sure it's even safe to give people. Then after that, they have to test to see if it even works. And they do that by testing small groups and then larger groups. So they're saying now the CDC and the NIH says maybe a year at the earliest we'll have a vaccine. That's good news and bad news, because we know that this coronavirus might, this is something to pray about, might be seasonal, like 4 other coronaviruses. So we're not
going to get rid of it.
Well, maybe not, but it might go away
and then
in the spring and then come back next year. And when it comes back next year, maybe we'll be ready for it with a vaccine. Wow. That's what we saw with the swine flu.
Well, forgive me for being skeptical, but this thing is related to the common cold, and that's been the quest of medical science for a long time. How do you get a cure for the common cold?
Exactly.
And so are we really going to find a vaccine that's effective?
Well, the experts do believe that they will have a vaccine because SARS is also a coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And we saw that SARS was very deadly, and experts did come up with a vaccine for SARS, and they were ready for SARS to come back, and it disappeared, and it still hasn't come back.
Well, let's
they keep
pray
waiting
that
for
way.
it.
Which is great, yeah.
It's great. Yeah, right. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. But it's funny how that just disappeared and never came back. Scientists don't know why. And in fact, it's the SARS vaccine that they tweaked a little to make the coronavirus vaccine.
So once people are identified as having this coronavirus, how are doctors treating that? What's the process?
Great question, and very exciting also. Remdesivir, say it, remdesivir. That's the antiviral, yeah, and the stock, by the way, has gone way up. That's the antiviral medication that they're testing right now on coronavirus cases in the United States, in Nebraska, and also in China. That's showing great promise. This antiviral has been shown to be effective against Ebola and also SARS, another coronavirus. So these tests are going on right now. If they show that this remdesivir works, it'll be available for general consumption at the end of the summer.
Wow.
Okay, what can people do to not get it? Because that seems to be the best way to go. So wash your hands, don't touch your face, anything else we can do?
All these things that we hear about, but do we do them? I'm guessing no. They say that 1/3 of all Americans do not wash their hands. And Terry, I don't know about you. I'm not a big hand washer. Not at all, because, hey, that messes up your manicure. So we need to get over these things.
So
but
avoid
also,
manicures?
we just need to know that
That's
it's going to mess up your, this is the price we pay.
I'm doing that right
now. So yes, do wash your hands. A lot of people don't, when they need to get in the habit. Wash your hands often, and then also don't touch your face. Believe it or not, science shows us that we touch our face 20 times an hour and don't realize we need to stop doing that.
Okay. Bad habit, I guess.
All right. So wash your hands, don't touch your face.
And the experts say that this
avoid
spreads.
Crowds?
Well, that's a personal decision. People who are at high risk, who are most at risk of catching this and dying from it, are people who are elderly and people who have underlying health conditions. These people need to take extra precautions.
Okay, well, good to know. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, my
Great job.
pleasure.